Every single problem in America, virtually every single problem, is alleviated to some degree with economic growth. We're at 1.2% growth over the last year. I guarantee you heard it first on the Stuart Marney Show, we get a Donald Trump presidency, we're going to have 4% growth for 5 years. Write it down. 4% growth for 5 years.
Yeah, well, we wrote it down several times, actually. Steve Moore, top economic advisor to Donald Trump. 4% growth, there you go, 4% growth in each of the next 5 years. Who's here? David Malpass, another Trump economic advisor. That was a gutsy call. 4% growth in each of the next 5 years? You think you can do that?
Sure. That's entirely possible for the economy. We've been down so long that you can really come back fast. You know, it wouldn't be smooth at 5% every year. It'd be higher than that in the initial years, because what the Obama administration has been doing, and Clinton plans to continue, is keeping business investment very slow. It's a remarkably weak recovery. You know, the weakest since 1949. So if you change policies, you get a burst of growth at the beginning, and that carries you through.
That would be a huge burst of growth. That would take the economy up 25%. It would be 25% bigger at the end of a first Trump term. And you say that's possible?
Yeah,
it seems like pie in the sky dreaming to some of us.
But remember, all that's doing is recovering part of the losses in GDP that have been occurring over these last few years. The gap between what we should have been doing and what we've been doing is massive. And so all you're talking about is, can we make up? And in past recoveries, you always did that. When after the recession was over, you had growth. That happened in 2003, in 1983, 84, 85, as the Reagan recovery took hold, spurred by tax cuts. You know, Hillary Clinton is supposed to make a speech this afternoon where she's finally catching on that small businesses are getting crushed in this economy by health care and all of that. And she's proposing small ball, these little tax changes, when what we need really is a sea change in business regulation that allows them to create jobs.
Okay, turn it around. You know the Hillary Clinton plan. I mean, you're a Trump economic advisor. You've seen the other side of the coin. It's basically tax the rich and spend a great deal of government money on various social programs. What kind of growth will that give us?
It'll give us less than what we've been getting. So
Any growth at all?
We've been under 2% in the Obama recovery, and she's adding taxes to that. You know, it's not just tax the rich. She's got an estate tax that will force almost every small business to create an estate plan, which they desperately don't want to do. You got to hire a lawyer. You got to figure it out in case you do well. So it's basically a tax on success, and that's crushing to small businesses so they don't form. We've had this desert almost of small business formation in the Obama years, where small businesses don't want to form because they know they'll have to get lawyers to help them with their health care policy, with their labor policies. They put themselves up for a lawsuit, and so they don't do it. And so that's what's got to be corrected. And if you do, you get 4% growth.
Well, are you going to advise Donald Trump to get out there and say 4% growth in each of the next 5 years? Because if he said that, you've got yourself a headline.
Of course.
I mean, the media's going to tear you to pieces because they won't believe you, but you get back on the front burner.
You know, he's almost been saying that now. He talks about making America prosperous from the grassroots up. The biggest beneficiaries are people that have been left out of the current expansion. That's millions of Americans who would like to have a job, but they aren't even counted in the data.
Is it that simple, David? You just get 4% growth and all wondrous things happen. Is it really that simple?
I have to say yes. You know, the U.S. economy for hundreds of years has been able to grow faster than what we're doing right now. And so the question was, how did they manage to keep it so slow? But we know the answer. Bad policies across the board. Bad tax policy, regulatory policy, Federal Reserve policy, and so on down. That's what slowed it down.
And if we get this election result that you clearly hope for, what happens to the stock market real fast?
Equities like it, but they have to digest the idea that bond yields are going to be higher. That's the reality. I think that would be a good solution. Pension funds would like it, retirees would like it, older people would like it, because we'd have more yield on our bonds.
Okay, we hear you. David Malpass, thanks for joining us. So appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.